Oh, you're talking.
Oh, it's doing it all.
If you let it sit, it does okay. You're live, just FYI. You there? You're talking, but I can't hear you. Hold on.
Yeah. Um, try that again. It'll get better. It'll get better. Yeah, I mean, eventually, I guess I'll just get a new computer, but I don't know. I wish I could just fix it because it's not really, except for the streaming, there's nothing that's changed about my setup in the past 3 months that should have made this such a problem. But it's just now everything runs slow. It constantly overheats. Logic, it's just like nothing works anymore. Only when it's overheating. But even when I'm not logged in any of the streaming programs and shit,
You are
it's
live, my
fine now.
friend. Yes. It's a little
Yeah.
delayed, but it'll get better.
Uh-huh. Let's try that. It's not amazing, but whatever. What are you gonna do? Okay. Um, how's everyone doing?
Dev Rab says,
I'm just
Yo, don't go online. New viewer, first time chatter. Worldwide 2K says, What's up?
Go online.
That's the username.
There you have it. How's everybody doing? I'm like delirious, bro. I have no idea what the fuck is going on anymore. I will I will tweet now. I think Angie probably passed out. It has been a very tiring couple of weeks. Usually she's very like, what are we doing, besties? You know, she's always saying shit like that. Let me do
Edgar
where are
Paul
we at?
from WMG says, yes, sir. Spence Dog checking in. Tyler Main. Shout out to Tyler. He was at the New York meetup.
Oh, yeah.
Dev Rab says, I quit my job.
I am live now on Twitch. You quit your job? That's amazing.
Thank you for the follow, Extinct Trickster.
Let me do a little Instagram story. Oh
Thank
my
you.
God, I'm live. Taking questions, talk about whatever you want, hanging out on my Twitch, listening to music that some people have made that they wanted me to hear. This is the time. Everyone's always like, how do I send you songs? This is now. It's almost. I was right. I fucking nailed it. So I was really tired, fell asleep. Johan Lennox. I fucking knew it. Sometimes you just know.
Dev Rab
All right.
says, thank you, Johan, and yeah, left my toxic job to dive into music. Hell yeah.
Fucking hey, that's amazing.
Shout out
I've got a
to,
cocktail here.
we got cocktail time. Cocktail time with Yeet.
It kind of looks like a white wine. It's not. It's some of the whiskey sour that we made for the
If you was into
LA.
cocktails,
What do you want to be when you grow up? Experience. Yeah.
what kind of cocktail do you think Yeet likes?
Eat.
Yeah.
I've basically not met anyone in the music industry who's into cocktails. I don't think, I mean, maybe a couple like random ass label people. The guy that works at 1 RPM who reps my shit there seems to know a decent amount about that stuff, but I don't think I've ever met an artist or producer who even like knew what a cocktail was.
Zooks.
I'm trying to think of any.
Mike likes cocktails.
Like,
Zookeeper.
oh yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point. So he's the only one, which is usual. So yeah, he's funny. I only really know him because we both work with Joe. Like I would never have encountered maybe like all the EDM guys like cocktails. I just don't ever work with any of them, so I don't. He and I have never even worked together. We only do cocktails. Uh, so I don't. We do a lot of cocktails. That's true. There's a EDM producer guy named Zookeeper with one E, Zoo Keper,
Zookeeper.
who's really into cocktails. That's true though. I mean, that's he's like the only one, and he's like I wouldn't say he's quite as far down the fucking rabbit hole as I am, but he's definitely pretty deep into it. I mean, he's not like a fucking dilettante at all. Uh, oh, I don't know. I mean, yeah, certainly in hip hop and pop, I've never met anyone that knows anything about cocktails. So it's hard for me to answer that question. I would like to get them all into it though. It's like a dream of mine because I
It.
think, but it's hard to do because you show up to a session, it's like, well, we've got Hennessy and we've got like some kind of nice mezcal or like whatever reposado tequila. It's like how many things would I have to bring to turn that into it? You know, it's like I can't show up with a fucking briefcase with like 9 bottles and ice and shit. You know what I mean?
I
Hard
mean,
to
you
demo
could.
unless
Maybe that's the kit. Maybe that's the setup next
I
time.
yeah, well, so I think I did a little bit like some people who came to my "What do you want to be when you grow up?" experience in March got to taste some of the cocktails I've been making, and that is literally what I'm drinking leftovers from right now. Um, but I think that was cool. I mean, it definitely made me want to do more events like that. I just moved into this apartment with this I got huge parties, but if it was, I would. Eventually, I have a huge mansion and just have big ass cocktail parties, and then everyone will know my wrath.
Itty Bitty Lissa says, my motherfucking bestie. Extinct Trickster says, hardest song that pushed you sonically and creatively. Good question to start us off.
This Town on my album was a tough one. I've said this a few times, but I'll just say it. Like just because this song I've had so many versions of over such a long time that it's just changed so many different types of drums, different types of production, different chords, different lyrics. And I just believed in the chorus, I guess, and the pre-melody is really good. I like that melody. And I was just like, I have to use the song. The girl that I wrote that with just texted me at the exact moment I brought it up. It's kind of funny.
Itty Bitty Lissa
So,
says,
so it's then it became a challenge to just be like, how do I make this work with the album? And like, follow, like as my sound evolved, I had to evolve the song to match it, and it was a challenge. But I was just like, not, you know. And I think everyone else, even my manager, was kind of just like, I don't know. It's like that song's kind of old, doesn't really fit. It was like, well, it doesn't fit yet. I'm gonna make it fit, and I did. And now it's like a lot of people's favorite song. It's like probably the second best streaming song on the album, like week by week right now. And a lot of people asked me to play it live, which I didn't prepare it for because I thought no one would give a shit. So I'm glad I pushed through. I'll set it up for the next tour.
Itty Bitty Lissa says, Mezcal is trash. Johan, it tastes like plastic.
I think it tastes like dirt,
I think it tastes
which
like
is probably
liquid
what
smoke.
you. It doesn't. People are. I mean, they say it's smoky, but it's like I think it tastes more just like dirt and sort of like burnt than it does like smoke. That's just my opinion. I know smoky. Obviously, everybody calls mezcal smoky, but to me, it's more just like it just tastes really like just gritty and fucking bitter and earthy. Um, and I agree. I mean, I think I have some in this drink. I prepared a second drink over here, which has some mezcal in it, but I usually use just the tiniest bit, just to get a little bit of that dirt aftertaste. I'm not pouring like an ounce and a half of mezcal into a drink that's supposed to take tequila. I think that's a mistake. People do that, and you just end up with a cocktail that's like overall very balanced, but then just has this insanely weird like aftertaste that has nothing to do with the rest of the drink. I think pairing it with spicy shit is good because the spice can sort of match up to the grit, or like some other extreme flavor that's going to hang on just as hard. Maybe something super bitter, maybe, you know.
All right,
I don't know.
I got two more questions for you. This one's a good one. Rizzo, I'll get to
Am
you,
I
but
audible? Am I okay? I can see it like glitching, but am I doing okay?
yeah.
Okay.
Dinky Binky 434 says, I saw a tweet by Casey back in 2021. He posted a screenshot with 070 Pluto dash Johan. Is there a collab with the three of you in existence?
Yeah, yeah, that's how we all met. I mean, I met him through Shake, and we all did a few songs. And there's one that they keep asking me for. They keep being like, "Yo, do you have the stems for that one? Send me that." And it's this one idea that we started. So it is my hope that something will happen with that. I'm kind of in like a weird bind right now because I have all of my shit backed up on two hard drives, and both of them just stopped working at the same time, which is very odd. There's no reason for that. And they've been stored in completely unrelated places, and like it just, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense, but it's very concerning. And that song is on there. But I've sent them the stems to it so many fucking times that someone must have the session.
This
If
is
not, we're fucked.
Camilla says, which song on the album took you the longest to write?
Um, well, again, "Fuck This Town" was a song that like has been around for a long time. Um, and so it took a long time to just get it into the state it's in right now. Like literally the first version of that is from 20, I'm pretty sure it's from 2018. Like I barely was even going by Johan at that time. Oh, well, I've always gone by Johan.
Spoilers. Regular size
No,
cat.
but yeah, but there's probably hang on. There's some others that got some decent amounts of revision. I mean, "Aimless," that interlude like took a lot of different shapes before I ended up with the one that's on there. "Don't Be a Loser," I had to go back through I felt the lyrics were verging on like I don't know, toxic masculinity, which is a bit a theme of the album. I think it's like it's an underlying note throughout anyway. But I took some lines out that felt just a little like abrasive. So that was interesting. But yeah, I mean, the easiest ones were like "You Up" and "Phases." Those pretty much just I just wrote each one in an afternoon by myself. They changed almost not at all. What Happening? That one changed a lot. It used to be at the end of the album. Then I moved it to the beginning. Changed. It used to be called "Ain't Gonna Happen," but because it was like a concluding, like, well, none of those things worked for me. I guess we're just gonna fucking give up. It was like a low point. But then I wanted it at the front of the album. Someone suggested that I move it to the front, and I thought they had a good point. Moved it to the front. Changed it to "What Happening," and the lyrics are like, "What's going on? What's even happening?" And then added Casey, and that one changed a lot too. So I mean that took it's hard though. I'll do like every song. There's probably at least 20 versions of. So it's kind of like it's just all of them just kept growing through a long period of time. So
EBZ1313 says, love the album. Regular Size Cat says, hi, I got to see you at Danny's concert in New York and fell in love with your set slash music. I used to
thank you.
play violin growing up, and I swear to God, watching you do your classical set before you left inspired me to get back into practicing heart.
Wow, that's fucking amazing. Jesus, I really want to create a world ultimately where people listen to and give a shit about classical music, not like Beethoven even, but just like modern music written for those instruments. And my songs do a little of that, but if since you saw me at Terminal 5, you saw that classical shit I did after my set. That's like really I love the songs. I'm very proud of this album, and that's something I want to do take very far. But where I see myself really going when I'm like 50 years old and shit is just straight up orchestra concerts for just hordes of young fans and like loud music and fucking lighting and shit. And just I just really want it to be reaching people that aren't 50-year-olds. I'll be 50, but I don't want it to be just only reduced to just old people going to these concerts. I want it to reach everybody. And the fact that there was like a whole room full of kids just losing their shit over like some chamber music I wrote in this exact chair like a week beforehand. Like to me, that's like really exciting, and I really want people to because people learn the violin and they're kind of like, well, nobody fucking cares, so they give it up. And I feel like there's a world in which they'd be able to play that music for people and it would be like entertaining and it would people would pay money to see it. You
Two thoughts. Pala Foxbox says, aimless gets me every time thinking my headphones are going out. And then
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Well, then you notice, I mean, it does it again at the end of the album, right? So I did it twice, so no one would think it was an accident.
regular.
But it's supposed to sound
Oh,
like the sound of your car, like if you're ever like your car loses reception and it just, you as you're switching out of a region into a new region where the stations are changing and the sound just starts crunching out. That's kind of what I was thinking.
regular.
Sort of just like,
Sorry.
good.
You take
You're good.
you
Sorry.
take just long enough pauses that I always think that you're gonna stop talking, and then I always cut
No,
you
I
off.
know,
So
I
I'm
know, I
so
know.
sorry.
It's yeah, no, no, it's not your fault. It's a thing I do in real life too. I like have a lot of thoughts and then I like am done and then I have one more thought. And
So regular sized cat said followed up and said I was in awe and was telling my friends how cool it was that you did that because that's not what's expected at a concert like that, and I was like, bro, I want to do
right.
that.
Fuck yeah, that's all I want to do. I mean, if somebody else can make this shit happen where the classical shit is just actually a factor in our culture as a country, I'm good with that. It doesn't need to be me. I just don't know anyone else who's really going to make that happen and has like a plan to make it happen. So I'm on this mission, and if you want to be on this mission with me, nothing would make me happier than to have. And there's a few people I've started to kind of like be like, hey, so this is where I'm really going with this. Are you down? Are you down? But I got to just, you got to get the platform and you got to get the money, and then it's like to really put these productions up the way I want but Shake gave me a huge opportunity by letting me do that shit before her set, and I'm gonna do it all 4 nights I think this week in LA because that really is just in addition to singing my songs, the fact that like what other artist is like, hey, can you just play like 20 minutes of chamber music after your set? It's just like no one has that kind of imagination. I feel like Kanye does and she does, and that might be it. So I fuck yeah, this is eventually I just want to be able to do a whole night of that and know it'll sell tickets, and that's the goal.
Dev Rab says I stopped playing the viola because there wasn't a modern influence in everything we played. It's a breath of fresh air
Yeah,
hearing Johann bring this back, and I've recently started to do the same.
that's so sick. If you're making music with that stuff, please, I would love to hear it. Maybe we should get to one in a second, but I listen to people's. I have a lot of followers that like to make music and are some of them are aspiring artists and producers and stuff. I try to listen to music and give my thoughts on it on these streams as well. So maybe we'll do a little of that in a minute. If there's any somebody else, there was one thing somebody said about a cocktail that I felt I needed to comment on. Oh, licking a campfire. Yeah, there's this Amaro that I really like. It's like bitter shit that tastes. That's how I describe it. Literally tastes like a campfire in a bottle. But this is hard to find. But if you're in a major city, you can maybe find Amaro, Sibila.
Pink Tone
Yeah,
222 says, "Yeah, I feel that I go to school for classical guitar, but I'm ditching it because there isn't much to do with it besides go to grad school. It sucks though because it is so fun, but the effort compared to salary is hard. Ditching it in the sense I'm not continuing it after school."
yeah. I mean, I think the salary thing is one thing, and I have some friends who are part of a group that kind of has seemed to have a bit helped figure that part out. I mean, they didn't make a lot of money, but they have gotten a thing that seems to just like pay steadily. And they're called like candlelight concerts, and they just do like Taylor Swift music, but for string quartet, and like they market it. They're really good at like ads, basically. It's like an ad company. Well, it's not an ad company, it's like a ticketing company. But they're just really good at targeting kids that just not just kids, just people of all ages that just want to go to like a specific thing, like, ooh, this one's in like a cool like location that's like mysterious, and people will just who wants to go see a string quartet and just sounds like a good date night or something. And like they're selling something that is marketable and interesting enough that people are buying tickets to go see it, and then everyone's getting paid, and it's great. I'm trying to go a step further in that I just want to also be at like the forefront of culture with it. And that's sort of more how I'm not trying to solve the money problem first. I'm trying to solve the like why does no one give a shit about this music thing? And for me to feel like that's been achieved, I feel like it needs to be it's not enough for it to just be this random activity you can go to in like a city. Like people need to be talking about it. You know what I mean? So I think of it as like if it's I don't think it's gonna be the type of thing that competes with like Justin Bieber necessarily, but I do think it could be the type of thing that operates on the same level as something like Hamilton, where like if you've seen Hamilton or you watch it, you know, or went to see it live or whatever, like you maybe only went once, or if you're a super fan, you bought the soundtrack or whatever, or maybe you caught the Disney version. But everybody heard about that shit. It like made a difference. It's like impacting. Like people are writing musicals differently because of that. People talked about like America, I guess, because of that. You know, whatever to some extent. Like it had an impact, and it's not just like well, at least they're making money doing this shit for like retirement homes. It's like no, this is like part of the fucking culture. That to me is like where I feel like this hit. I don't know. I got Cirque du Soleil a lot too. Like people, I think that could like you just fucking like yo, let's take some mushrooms and go to Cirque du Soleil. You know, I feel like it could be that, but it could just be the symphony and just really loud and visually stunning, but still like really solid music. Like not dumbing anything down here. It's just we're just making it more fucking immersive. So
All right, should we play some
yeah,
music?
yeah. I'll keep taking questions and shit, but yeah, if we want to hear a song, who has a song?
Let's do a newcomer. We've got no subs, so nobody gets jumped in the front of the
Yeah,
line today. We've got Dev Rab, and they submitted their song with classical take on it. It features a violin and cello section. I'm really proud of it.
sick. I'm excited. I usually do these on Wednesdays, but just the tour has thrown everything out of whack. But this Wednesday is the last Wednesday of tour, so next Wednesday I'll be back to Wednesdays, and maybe other stuff on Wednesdays.
Hey, what's going
All right,
on,
sweet.
everybody? This is Neo checking in so you can check it out. Right now, we're going to check out Dev Rab. Name of this joint, Inhale. Let's go. Inhale, relax, devil on my back. Don't know what I have, gotta make these racks. Man, I'm spitting facts, feels like no one understands me. Yeah, I'm in the back, devil right beside me. Yeah, I'm on my way, selling out these shows, I'm gonna be touring. Pulling up in a fleet full of the Suburbans. Yeah, thinking about the dreams I'm mixing with the potion. All of these feelings that I'm still probably ignoring. Only talking to the ones who still be out supporting. Pull up to the function, yeah, you hear my engine roaring. Drink is in my system, yeah, my confidence is soaring. When I'm coming down, you know I feel like falling. Here, relax. my bed, don't know what I have. Gotta make these racks. Man, I'm spitting facts. Feels like no one understands me. Yeah, I'm in the back, devil right beside me. Riding in that 2-seat, baby girl, it's a foreign. Yeah, I saw you calling, yeah, you know that I ignored it. Yeah, you know you love me, but this shit is more important. Swear I'll get right back to you when I'm up in the morning. Get here and relax, don't know what I have. Gotta make these racks, man, I'm spitting fast. Feels like no one understands me, yeah, I'm in the back. Get here and relax, devil.
Fire. It felt like looking in a mirror. It was very weird. It was like a funhouse mirror. It's just like, is this what my music sounds like? Is that what my music sounds like? I don't think we've ever heard something that was like that close to my own shit. It's very jarring. I mean, it's different. Your voice obviously sounds totally different, but definitely like, yeah, it's clearly like the exact same combination of elements. But it's cool. I mean, it's different. I think the strings sound amazing. I don't know how. I'd love to hear exactly how you did that, especially because people often ask me like how to deal with string players or how to put strings on a record and shit without breaking the bank or whatever. So if you want to throw in the comments what you were in the chat, sorry, what you were doing with the strings, I think they sounded great. The vocals were cool too. I mean, I think it all kind of came together. I don't usually listen to lyrics that closely, so you just got to forgive me if I'm not really going to comment on that. I just tend to, it takes me a couple listens to get into lyrics. But I thought the biggest thing for me on that was just like a structural thing was I felt like the chorus, I mean, I figured out what the chorus was, obviously the second time it came around, but I felt like something could have been done to make the chorus stand out more from the rest of it, either bringing the music down further or maybe up, but probably down, and then maybe up right before it happens, so you really feel this train. It's just like every time the chorus hits, that should be like the biggest change that ever happens in the song is that like everything's all stacked up and then it's all nothing, or everything's all the way out and it's fucking huge. Like those are kind of the two main ways to do that, I guess. Kind of. So I feel like you could have like pushed it a little further just in terms of just making sure that contrast gets hit really hard when the chorus comes in. Just it's like a chorus. But I thought it was cool. I mean, I'm excited. Is that music out? I'd love to. Can people follow you on here and shit?
We got a couple of subs that I'll read out. We got Sosa.
Was that Dev Rab?
Yeah, that was DevRab.
All right, cool. I'm checking. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, can you actually like? I would love because people in here sometimes are asking how to do strings, and like I can't. Whatever. I don't have time to do strings for everybody's project and shit. But could you actually tell us like how did you find these musicians? Did you pay them? Are they on publishing? Like, are they just friends of yours? Like, people want to know. You brought them into the studio. What did you do? Tell people, because I know how I do shit, but I do it like the Hollywood way, because I live in Hollywood, or close to Hollywood. But there's probably a way to do it that doesn't. That shit was tight though. I'm really excited for that.
Shout out to William Morris
Shit.
from Twitch.
Hell yeah. It's really funny that his name is William Morris, which is just also like the biggest agency ever in the music industry. I wonder if he ever thinks that's interesting. My mom also talks about like a William Morris who is like an architect or some shit. She knows a lot about old architects. I guess it's a comment.
You got some fans from Brazil in chat.
Yes. If only I could come to Brazil. Maybe soon. I've been once to Rio. Is it true I've never had a car and Uber everywhere?
True.
I've never had a car in LA. I have a car, and when I go back to Boston, I'd borrow my parents' car and drive around in the suburbs of Boston where I feel comfortable. I don't know, just something about LA drivers and shit. I got here and I was just like, I actually had it. This is what literally happened. I had a car rented. I was very like fearless in the moment that I sort of first came to LA on music shit. And I had a car rented as part of the plan. And like, I don't even know how to rent a car. Like, I don't, but somehow I figured out how to rent a car. So I'd be waiting at the airport. And then the friend whose couch I was staying on was like, oh, have you heard of Lyft? You should try this thing, Lyft. And I looked it up and I like looked at the prices a little bit. And I was just like, sweet, that sounds easier. and then I just canceled the rental, and I've never driven a car in LA since.
Shout out
But I'm
to
capable. I'm capable of driving. I don't know. City driving stresses me out. I still want to, and I drink a lot too, so it's nice to not have to worry about that. And like, then there's all the shit with parking and valet and insurance and gas and price of gas right now, which maybe gets passed on to me through Uber and Lyft anyway. But yeah, no, I don't. So the first year or two, I basically just took the subway. There's a subway here. It's not great, or it runs nice, but it doesn't go anywhere. And then there's buses. So I took a lot of buses, and then like when it was convenient and not too expensive, I would take a Lyft or an Uber for like the first 2 or 3 years, and then now that's pretty much all I do. So one day I'm gonna have a driver. I can't fucking wait. Can you imagine having a guy? Oh my God, that sounds so great.
Toybox Tristan asks, "Did you do any of the tour driving?" Andrew says, "No."
No,
LOL.
I literally didn't. I didn't drive a fucking no. No, I think if it comes down to it, like we'll see. Like I spent some, like I whatever. I don't get too detailed on it, but like generally when you open up for somebody, unless it's like fucking a huge artist, for the most part, if you're opening up for someone, you're doing so like relatively not a lot of money to be spent. And so if you want to do a good job and have string players and have it be a great show, you're probably actually spending money to go on tour on some extent. Try to make it back on merch and all that type of stuff. But yeah, no, I definitely tried to just have this be a convenient and good experience for the most part for everyone involved. Since it's the first time we've done it, but I may have to, maybe the next one we do a little more roughing it, which might mean that I inevitably have to drive. So highway driving is fine. I'll deal with it. I'm just fucking lazy. But yeah, it's more that fucking LA shit, or like trying to find like when we get into Philly and we gotta park in front of the venue, and like there's fucking like things are so tight in like the Northeast and like in most cities to be honest, but like especially there, and you're just kind of like dealing with all these fucking asshole drivers and shit in Boston or whatever the fuck, and it's just like I don't want to fucking deal with that. It sounds so stressful,
All right, I got to shout
but
out
I
some
will if I have
subs.
to.
Shout out to
You should do it.
Sosa, subbed with Prime. Shout out to Liam Flacco, subbed with Prime. Shout out to Toybox Tristan,
Flacco.
subbed with Prime. Shout out to Notch XOXO. They gifted a tier
Thank you
1
guys.
sub. This is fucking amazing. Make sure you sub with Twitch Prime. Doesn't cost you anything. Gets Johan a little merch money that he can spend to design some new merch. Shout out to Ange. This is amazing. Thank you for subbing, everyone.
I'm having a blast.
Let's play some music from our new subs. Let's do Liam Flacco, because I already have you queued up. This is their track,
Flacco.
Poison.
It's involuntary. William Morris tweeting out the fucking thing right now. Look at that. Goddamn motherfucking legend.
Drink pra nós é veneno. Tô fazendo esse dinheiro. Baby, cê me lembra Vênus. Tamo viajando no tempo. Sensor me derrama. Tudo isso se acalma. Drink pra nós é veneno. Tô fazendo esse dinheiro. Baby, cê me lembra Vênus. Tamo viajando no tempo. Misturo whisky com gelo, só enxergo highlights. Estou indo em direção a Vênus, só lá eu me sinto em paz. Minha vibe nunca cai, eu sempre faço ela querer mais. Sentando, me chamando de pai, em um voo partindo daqui pra Dubai. Agora eles querem meu show. Lembro quando não me escutavam, agora só perco tempo contando meu dia. Dentro dessa pede na jacuzzi. Apresento pra esses pussy boy minha Uzi. Só minha Uzi. Fodendo essa beat na jacuzzi.
Fucking sick. I love it. I love the texture of vocal. It's so cool. It's so like fucking ethereal and shit. That's great. It's definitely like, yeah, I mean, it's definitely in that kind of down tempo. Where's this person from, or where are they located? I guess.
Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird because I can't really speak to like what's happening there right now musically, but it definitely reminds me of some shit I've heard coming out of like Mexico, maybe, and Puerto Rico and shit. uh, that I like, which is I think that there was this sort of, I mean, all the like dreary kind of like Drake shit has kind of like it's kind of done here, but I feel like in sort of like Latin America and stuff, like they're still working through that sound in a way that I think is interesting and different, and like I'm excited because I like that shit better than, hyper pop or whatever. We'll probably hear some hyper pop later, but I'm just like I'm not as drawn to like the sort of just in your face, positive, explosive shit. I'm much more into this kind of like moody, vibey, cinematic shit. It's just my taste. So it's cool that's still a fucking thing, and that y'all are working on some shit that sounds like that. And it sounds different. It doesn't really sound like anything we've ever heard here. So I mean,
It's
um,
Portuguese.
the language.
Yeah, he said we speak Portuguese here. Crying face.
No, I know that. Is that you can't say Hispanic to? See, I don't fucking know what these words mean. I apologize. Latino, I guess. I don't know. Like, what's the word that just Latin America? Is that what I said? I don't know.
I don't know. That's what they were just responding with. Liam Flacco, please correct
No, I'm
us.
aware. I'm aware. I went there. Yeah, no, I learned obrigado, and that was it. And I feel like I briefly learned how to get a guy to just chop huge amounts of steak off a fucking dish and serve it to me, because that was like a critical part of my experience in Brazil, which is fucking amazing, by the way. There's supposed to be a really good Brazilian restaurant in downtown LA that has all that churrascaria shit, but I apologize. I don't want to talk about where you're from. The music is fantastic. It's I think it's fantastic. I really fuck with it. I would love to hear more from you. Do you have an IG or something? I'll follow you. What is it?
Liam Flacco, let's get your IG in chat. It's probably something like Liam Flacco.
I
Oh,
can't. Yeah.
also, shout out to Notch XOXO for another gifted sub.
Do I work with any artists out of Mexico? I don't think I do currently. I mean, there's no reason not to. I mean, I basically just work with people that are in LA, which is kind of people from all over, but I haven't done that much international shit. I have this one dude who always hits me to work on like stuff from Israeli stuff artists for some reason. Well, I
Casey's
know the
from.
reason, but
Isn't Casey from Kenya?
yeah, but like he's also from like fucking Minnesota. I don't know. It's just like
Oh,
whatever. It's like we're all
for some
from.
reason I
So, you
thought
know
he
what I
was
mean?
Kenyan. Like,
No, he didn't like fly from Kenya to LA. I mean, he definitely has family out there, but it's not. I guess maybe he was born. I don't remember exactly how where he spent most of his life, but I just mean like people whose like primary audience is an internet. Like Casey clearly is playing an American audience. Lancey Foe is UK, but even away, like he's almost kind of playing an American audience too, I think, somewhat. But I've never worked with. Oh, I am working with a Canadian artist who's like actually Canadian, like a French Canadian artist who like seems to play largely to Canadians and not to Americans.
Justin Bieber.
Named Liliane Francesco or something. She got me to do a verse on her song, and she's flying me out to Toronto to do a video next Thursday. So that'll be fun. But no, I'd be down to fuck with some more Latin American artists for sure. I think that shit is kind of more exciting than what's happening here, to be honest. So, and K-pop is another big one. I haven't worked on. I mean, I've maybe pitched a couple songs in that world, but I did do an entire orchestra concert about K-pop music that just because with a friend of mine who's like a big K-pop sort of expert, and that shit was pretty fun. But I have friends who have been going out there to write K-pop hits and stuff. But I haven't really done that much international shit. Is kind of the point here, I guess.
Shout
You
out
know
to.
what's fun is the baile, like the karaoke, or whatever the fuck, the baile funk or whatever from Brazil. That shit's crazy. I'd be down and work on some of that. Not that they need me.
Shout out to Notch XOXO for gifting 2 subs. They don't even have submission. They don't even make music. They're just here to vibe. That's a community member. That's a legend right there. Do you want strings on your track? We'll throw some strings on that bitch. Or that non-gender term.
That bitch. Bitch is a non-gendered term.
Is
Yeah,
it?
it should be.
All right.
If we should all work to make it one, I think.
Let's do one question, then we'll do another submission because we got one more sub. So I remember you sub, so you're up next. Dinky Binky 434 says, "How different would your life be if Yandi dropped instead of Jesus is King?"
Um, that was a crazy noise. That was me saying, I don't think it'd be that different. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the real, that's a good question. It's a great question. Because I actually do think about that a lot in terms of just like what is a good use of my time sometimes. Like, did having a Selena Gomez song change my life? Probably not. I mean, it's like some of this stuff is just kind of like you add it to a list of just like, well, I've worked with all these people, and people are just kind of like, oh, he's legit, and they're like more down to work. It's like sucks that that's the truth, but it is. That's how every industry is, you know. People trust you because of who else has trusted you, you know. But I did work with Kanye, and I have production credits with Kanye on a large number of records. Not a large number, but you know, like more than five, let's say. And I think that is, I mean, it would be cool to be able to say I worked on a Kanye release, but I don't think that's that different from saying I worked with Kanye on music that was released and I also work, you know what I mean? And a lot of people are on these albums. I'm not trying to like minimize it, but it's like, you know, how many producers are credited on Donda? Like, it's gotta be more than 50, right? It's gotta be. I mean, there's no, I don't, maybe it's like more than 30, and it's certainly more than 30. So it's like at a certain point, it's kind of like, oh, like it's cool, like it's definitely like legit, but it's just kind of, it's not like, it's not the same thing as like, I mean, if you think about like my relationship with the Shake album, it's like that entire album is just her, Dave Hamlin, me, Mike Dean mixed it and did some synth stuff, and then like Vinny did a couple things, Sebastian did a couple things, you know, there's a couple kind of, you know, it's like it's a small crew that made that shit. It's different from just being like one of like a million people on a project, which is what it would have been with Yandi. So I don't think it would be hugely different, but I would like to work with Kanye again. I mean, I get the vibe that he's just kind of more focused on fashion and stuff right now, and he's fucking killing it at that. So I don't really think and same with Rihanna for that matter. I mean, it's not like the only person who's that way. It's just like, who are you to tell Rihanna, like, get in the studio and make an album? It's just like, bro, like, she is fucking changing the game on a fashion. It's just like, you know, people want to do different shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know how much would get done if we were making another kind of album right now. But I would like to I'd like to just get him more into classical shit, I think, because he's worked with Caroline Shaw, who's someone I know from classical, and like, you know, worked with me briefly. But I think there's like a world in which he would be more, he did that opera. I'd like to see him go further down that route. I'd love to kind of just meet up with him and be like, yo, let's do this shit. So one day I think that'll happen.
I like that. Did you work with Kanye or did Kanye work with you?
Yeah, it's important to, I think that's something that I've really like learned over the past 5 years out here is that and it helps to like have a platform. Like I'm not like, I think I was always correct that like working with big artists was going to be helpful to my career. Like that, I don't really, you know, it's like I don't regret that as a strategy because it definitely everything I've done that's been cool in the past few years kind of happened because like me doing that classical set for the audience at Terminal Five is because of working with Shake, which is because of working with Kanye. I mean, so it's like all of this stuff is very, it's just very like who's co-signing who type of shit. It's just the reality of it, and you have to accept that. But I do think the more I've leaned into just like me and what I think is great and what I fucking want to do, it's like you miss out on opportunities in the short term sometimes because you're not adapting to as many situations or you're too busy just making your shit happen. But to the extent that you're able to just focus on your own shit without going broke, like I think it really eventually will create something that's greater and more interesting to people once they kind of see the vision, you know, which is why I've been going fucking insane inviting people out to these LA shows. This, you know, like anyone that I've worked with, if they can see me do this 20 minutes of chamber music and my own shit, just all of it, I think, with the live strings and stuff, I think, you know, this week in LA, I think people are just going to see me in a different light after that. And that's sort of, not, they always knew I could do it, but just kind of like it's just a thing that you can't really describe to people what it is I'm trying to do. I try, like I do describe it, but there's just nothing like it that's ever fucking happened. There's just nothing to analogize it to. So it's like them just getting people to see me do the 20 minutes of chamber music in front of an audience of younger people just screaming and shit, like with the lights and everything. Like I really think that's gonna open up. Some people aren't gonna get it, but a few people are gonna be like, "Oh, okay, fuck, all right, cool." And then it's just hopefully connecting dots to make that start to come to life as like a full time thing for me.
All right, with that, this is Sosa's track,
Let's hear it.
Rolly.
I love the Mike Dina emoji.
Roadie, ela sabe que eu tô slow. Fazendo esse flow, meus manos gritam ocean. Carrego o peso de conquistar esse money. Roadie. Deixando eles acharem que sabem meus planos. Vão te julgar de qualquer forma. São humanos. Ovelha negra, eu nunca fui de seguir. Roadie, ela sabe que eu tô slow. Fazendo esse flow, meus manos gritam ocean. Psicodélicos me deixando tão low. Eu já nem consigo mais ver as horas nesse roll. Garotas como Jenner na SUV. No Mike tinha o Eagle, yeah. Fazendo coleção de Barbie, yeah. Fudendo elas são de roll, yeah. E ela sabe que eu tô slow, yeah. Fazendo esse cash, meus manos gritam. Carrego o peso de ganhar esse money. Falei frequências, ontem conversei com Ocean. Uma estratégia pra sair da festa sem ninguém notar. 10 carros na garagem, movendo engrenagens. Viajei nessa viagem, sei que não faz sentido mais. Se não for pagar o preço, não se arrisca. É olho por olho, é a regra, nós sempre seguimos a risca. Tive que alugar um Tesla sem carteira de motorista. A gente tem fogo, nego, por isso sempre sai faísca. Eu pago o dobro, nego, se você quiser sua vista. Uma garota igual Riley Black. Informação, tô baixando um pack. De você tem vários Zack Kobe. Faço de 3 igual Ash Kobe.
That's sick as fuck. This is probably the only time I've ever given this advice on here. But I think that the drums should just be fucking like more like beat you over the head hard drums. It may be the sounds are the same, but I think just like it was pretty chill. The intro went on about twice as long as I thought it would before the drums would come in. I thought maybe just bring them in halfway through. Like to me that felt like a hard record. I don't know what the lyrics are about, but I think like that dun 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 whatever that like it just like it sounded like a record that you just want people to fucking like yell at you in an audience at a show. Like that to me felt like it would be a really hard record, and I just feel like having an 808 that's way more just like and like it just has to go to like and it's like real fucking just real kind of like not subtle. I think to me would. I think that song could just be kind of big. I mean, again, I don't know if the lyrics have that vibe, but certainly what it sounded like to me vocally was like very hooky, very up tempo, and I felt like the drums could have just, and the drums and the bass could have just made it that, take it all the way, just make it a fucking hard record. I think that could be a big song for you, my friend. Unless the lyrics are about something like really esoteric and unrelatable, in which case. I think you should change the lyrics because I think the melody and the chords and stuff just felt very like I don't know, it felt like a Travis record or something. But it's very different though. But definitely that kind of just rage to me personally. Username Nagavs. Is that? Oh,
Eagle Boy Guides?
I could be wrong though. I mean, I think that like it's funny because a lot of I'm assuming this dude also does not live in the United States, but I feel like the music we get that's like U.S. based, like everyone has gotten the like overly hard drum shit down. It's like not impressive anymore for people to do it here, but clearly clearly what you're doing is like more subtle and more interesting. I think that could be really an asset to you. But for whatever reason, this one just felt like of all the songs, this one I feel like you could just kind of push it and just go fucking hard with it. But I could be wrong. Eagle Boy Guedes. What is your at on Instagram, please, so we can all follow you? Yes. Well, yeah, next week we'll fuck with you, Liam. Blanco. All right. That was cool. Someone said, "Can you all offer any advice on doing a show as an opener for a genre you don't really work in?" Um, oh, it's a good question. I mean, I've like had kind of a tough time figuring out what genre I am, to be honest. I mean, the opening for Shake thing has been a real dream, and like pretty much the like if you could have named any artist that I could go on tour as an opener for, that probably would have been the first one I would have named. Short of like a superstar artist, like just anyone that's like, you know, that could plausibly happen for where I'm at in my career. I think yeah. So it's like that worked out really well. But I'm trying to get on some more tours and we're looking just like, oh, we could go like a little more R&B with it, but then it's like, are they gonna not feel like my shit's smooth enough? We could go a little emo with it, but are they gonna feel like my shit's not like, emotive enough or like too sort of mellow, maybe, we could go rap with it, but it's like then is my shit not gonna be hard enough? We go pop with it, but then it's gonna be like, is my shit too vibey and weird? I kind of think the pop shit is the easiest one, but I mean, the Shake audience, I mean, her music is really weird, and they like her and they like me. Then I think that's like a whole part of it is just trying to get on shows that feel like the right fit, and a little bit of it's just kind of a working, it's a trial, it's a process to figure it out. But I think once you're there, you just have to kind of be unapologetically yourself, which is easy for me to say because that's all I've been doing, and it works in this setting. But like you're not like how hard are you really going to change what you're doing to try to reach this particular audience? Like you just kind of got to do it and hope that three or four people are like, I don't really know that dude's shit, but I fuck with it. I fuck with the fact that he was doing his own shit or she was doing her own shit in her own way. So I think that is sort of the goal is just to have people recognize that you're like real as fuck. And then like, if you come away from it and like no one's trying to sign your t-shirts or nobody's trying to get your t-shirt signed or no one's following you on Instagram or DMing you about it, then maybe that isn't the crowd for you. But I think, if the show's booked, like just show up and just do your fucking thing and be yourself. And I try to make a strong impression, I think. Like, I don't think this Shake tour would be anywhere near as successful if I didn't have the violins on stage. Because, like, people come up to me afterwards, like, I'd never heard of your music, but the violins caught my attention, and the records are, and your voice is great, all that type of shit. But, like, really, like, the visual, I think, is what it is that they see the violins and they're like, oh, who the fuck is this guy? You know, and then they hopefully pay attention to the music, and then they go check it the next day and they like it, or. So it's like, I think that, and actually, there's probably people in here right now that's how they found me. But I think, yeah, just having something about you that's like different and attention getting, and then also just a general rule. I mean, I have a banner that says Johan Lennox on it because I was just worried about people like being like, "Oh, that guy was cool. What was his name again? I don't know," and that'd be the end of it. Uh, until maybe they hear you about you again a year later or something. So it's important that they have just that they can visually be like, who is this person? Oh, it's that. All right, cool. Let me add them. You know what I mean? And then having the merch table and being at the merch table, so like being humble about it because it's like they don't know who you are, but they see you at the merch table, like, oh, that guy was cool. Let's say what's up to him, and it's like you make friends and they follow you hopefully, and be like, yeah, check my album out. It's like you just got to do more work to kind of convince, just make sure they remember you, make sure they pay attention, make sure they remember your name, make sure they say what's up, make sure it's like it's work, but it's like it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding. It's so much more rewarding than just watching numbers go up on Spotify and shit. Like one person coming up to a merch table and be like, I fuck with you. Like to me, that makes the whole show worth it, even if it was only like one person. So yeah,
Would you open for Casey if he asked you and toured next year?
yeah, we've talked about it. I mean, I don't know what his touring plans are, and it's kind of just loose and sort of. I don't know. I'll probably work on his music some more before this album comes out, and I'm trying to get him out to. I mean, I think he'll definitely come to one of these shows this week, and hopefully he'll see it and be like, "That's crazy." I'm trying to get Tizo out too. I know Tizo really fucks with my music, and I feel like he'd be the perfect artist for me to open for because there's just the theatricality of what he does with the strings and stuff that I do. I think would be really cool. So those would probably be the two next ideal people. Actually, would be Casey and Tizo. St. John would be cool. I don't think that's really on the cards, but we'll figure it out. I texted Snow Allegra, but she's in Europe, so she can't come. Casey Hill is coming. We'll see. Maybe she'll fuck with it enough to that we could do something. So it's just kind of. I mean, they don't have to be at the show. I texted Phineas to come. He was very apologetic, but he's also in Europe right now. I think on a different tour, on his tour,
Oh,
Ray
Phineas would
Dilly's
be
tour.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be like a cool fit. I mean, those are very different people. I don't know what the Phineas audience probably has probably no overlap with the Phineas audience and the Tizo audience. But it's like that's the cool thing about this is like you're building your own, you know, tribe or whatever, which is just you pull people from different people, different artists and shit that happen to all align with some combination of things that you're doing, and so. Yeah, but I mean, touring's been fucking amazing. All I want to do is get back on one, so I'm going really hard, and Trevor's going really hard, and we're gonna figure out something so that I can be back in some cities and just keep this shit going.
Yeah. I got one more for you, and then we can answer some more questions. Get those questions prepped, gang. This is the last submission from Eagle Boy, who
Yeah, we
started
can
at
listen to some
saying,
other submissions too if we want. Yeah.
this track is not available. Why not?
Yeah, I'm sorry we didn't have a Pacific Northwest show. I would love to come to Seattle. I've been to Seattle a few times in my life. There's a bar there back on my cocktail shit that is a fantastic cocktail bar called the Barnacle in Ballard, which is part of a restaurant called the Walrus and the Carpenter. I would love to do Seattle. There was a lot of weirdo missions on this tour. I mean, we did kind of the two big destinations in Canada. We didn't do Vancouver though. We didn't do Seattle or Portland, so we didn't do any Pacific Northwest. We didn't do San Diego either, and we also didn't do anything in the southeast of the United States. We didn't do Atlanta or anywhere in Florida, um, which I think we're I don't know how this shit gets decided, but I definitely want to come to all those places and had people in my DMs being like, "When are you coming to Atlanta? When are you coming to Vancouver?" Or yeah, so Seattle would be sick. We didn't do like sort of the middle, like we didn't do like Kansas City and that type of shit. Some of those places are called secondary markets, which I guess is a bit insulting, but there's like the whole basically like most of these tours, there's one version that's like the thing that routes through like all the major, just huge markets, which I think Atlanta would count towards probably. I don't really know why we didn't go there, but then there's like the other tour that's just only like Indiana and Kansas City and like Buffalo, like Western New York State, and like maybe they go to Connecticut, Toads and shit. You know what I mean? So it's like that's the secondary market tour, which those are important too. But yeah, they tend to not. They tend to be it's like one tour and then the other tour. So maybe Shake will do that in a year. Maybe I'll do that again with her. Maybe I'll go to Europe with her. Maybe I'll do US with Casey. Maybe I'll have maybe get my shit together. I'll get 100 million plays in the next month, and I can do a headline tour. So maybe I'll shave. That'd be nice.
Maybe.
What's it been like working with Danny? How do you guys tackle a song together? Is it always much fun when you come in, or are you there from the beginning, etc.? I have this thing. I said this the other day. It is very funny to me that her fans all call her Danny, and her IG does say Danny, but it's very funny to me because everyone who works with her or is friends with her just calls her Shake. So it's like I don't know. It's fine. I'm sure it's fine for you to call her Danny, but it's fine. It's funny. It's like Shake. Yeah. But great question. Yeah. So I mean, it's really cool. I think that Yeah, I'm obviously pretty focused on my own artistry, um, which is just all time consuming thing, making songs, shooting videos, preparing for the tour, like, all this, singing, recording vocals, whatever. Um, so there's not that many artists that I like go all the way in on where I'm just going to be entirely involved in their process, beginning to end, you know. And Shake is the only one I've done that. I mean, the only other person I've really done it for is Vic Mensa in the past 4 years. There's Vic I did like a year and a half with, and then Shake I did the past year and a half with. So with Shake, yeah. So I mean, a lot of these records I've worked on for other, like like the Selena Gomez, the Kanye shit. I'm like largely coming in at the end, and they're like, "Oh, can you do your string shit? Can you do some vocal stuff?" It's like, great. Here, let me do it. Big Sean, whatever. I'm just adding the shit, and it gets used. Shake was very different. Yeah, Shake was literally like we would just show up every day, and she'd be like, she'd either play something. That didn't usually happen. A couple of times she would play a reference and be like, "We do something like this." It's pretty common with other artists, but she would not. Usually, she just like I don't fucking know. We would just plug in and then just it's hard to even remember exactly what happened. I mean, literally just like I might just plug in and just pull up a sound and start playing something, and then after 5 minutes she'd be like, I don't know about that one, something else, and then I would just pull up a different sound and start playing something different. Always on a keyboard, running through my laptop, just like I'd be like, and I was always thinking about kind of like epic, kind of dark, Kanye type shit and like from Bones or like whatever. So I'd pull something up like kind of the opposite of that just to see what she would say, like the harp on actually, you just said invited, right? Yeah, invited. That do 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 do. Like that was just me being like, what if there was a harp? And she's just like, oh, fuck with that. I was like, I did not expect that, but that's why I got to try shit. And she's really into weird and different shit, which is fun for me because I don't feel like I'm trying to match. Like when you work with pop writers and stuff, you're really trying to like match the sound of the radio and just kind of nail this sort of aesthetic that's pretty much already established. It's like slowly evolving, but for the most part, you're trying to like lock into something that's already working for like 100 million people. But with her, it's like she doesn't fucking care about that. In fact, she like, actively doesn't want to do that. So with Shake, it's much more just kind of like what is some weird thing that she's going to be into, and like I really share her taste, and I like have learned from her taste, and her music and stuff has made me like I want to make shit that sounds more like her, and the same with Kanye, and Travis. Like these are all artists that I just like look at what they're doing. I'm like, yes, I like that. Let me like, how do I do that? So it's like if I'm making her shit, I'm excited to find out like if she's not fucking with something, and then we try something else and she is into that. Like that's it's not like this, oh great, I finally found the thing they want, which is how it sometimes feels with some of the pop stuff. But with her, it's really just like, oh, sick, yeah. And it's always something weird that I never expect. And she's like, oh, I like that. I'm like, oh, cool, yeah, that is cool. Like, it's cool that you like that, and that makes me like, oh, and then I could do this, blah blah blah. It makes me excited. So yeah, we usually lay down like a good keyboard idea. Sometimes I'll do drums, Vinny do drums, Dave certainly ultimately will probably do what the final drums are. Um, and somewhere in the middle of that, even sometimes before the drums, she'll be like, yo, plug the mic in. Let me start doing melodies. And we'll start doing these passes that are just like 10 to 20 minutes of her just kind of improving melody ideas and occasionally coming back to the ones that feel right and just really trying to follow that inspiration. And then usually at the end of that, it depends. If she's feeling really inspired, she'll just immediately go back through and like catch. She'll be like, I think that spot was where I kind of nailed it, and we'll find the shit she really liked, and we're just kind of more or less how I do it too, for my shit. But then sometimes if she's just kind of like, you know, maybe not 100% sure about the idea, it'll just be like, all right, cool, save that, and then we'll start a new one, and we'll do like maybe 5 of these sort of jam things that evolve into sort of almost songs in that night. And then maybe at the end of the night, she'll be like, let's listen to everything we did and pull it up. So, play that first one. Wait, play the second one. Okay. And then the second one, she's like, yo, this shit, whatever. And then maybe the next day, she'll go through with Jenna, who was the engineer on this album, Jenna Felsenthal. I don't know what she is on IG, but you probably found her. And go through the vocals on that song and just kind of find the moments that were great, structure the song out with those vocals. And then maybe I would be back in the next day or the day after or something and kind of like hear the now structured version of this idea. I like barely remember even starting with them. or maybe it was an idea I wasn't even there for because I wasn't there for every single day. And then just be like, all right, cool. And then like that's actually where I think is my most useful place as a producer, at least, is when there's sort of a vocal structure and there's sort of an idea and there's a tempo and a progression. And she's happy with that. Now fleshing that out and adding the stuff to make the structure of it clear and make it really work as a record. Not finishing it, not mixing it, not putting like the final snare drum and stuff, but that's sort of like you've got something that's at 20%. Let's get it to like 70%. That is where I'm like the most excited because that's when you really just take the thing that isn't really a fucking song, but there's good shit in there and you make it into a song, but it's not finished. That's my favorite part. So that I think I did a lot of that on these records, and that's what I did on Stay. It's what I did on. I think actually sort of how I invited happened. It's what I did on Vibrations. Whatever. Anyway, that's a lot about Shake, but yeah, people want to know. I'll tell you.
All right.
Theatrical orchestra. I mean, that's my whole shit. So yes, I agree. Go ahead. Sorry.
This is the last submission from one of the subs, Eagle Boy, new sub from our friends in Brazil.
Esmagando os meus ossos e eu tô lidando com mais do que eu posso. Sinto arrepio quando eu te toco. Sempre fujo da noite. Eu nunca quis conversar com a escuridão. Ela me contou algo que não é bom. Sempre é tão estranho essa sensação de te encontrar de novo. Como você tá? Como eu vou ficar? Vou ter que aceitar e levar pra algum lugar onde eu não vou lembrar e nem procurar. Eu só não quero ouvir alguém falar que você voltou aqui. 3 da manhã em São Paulo, eu não me sinto só. Não quero me sentir fraco. Aqui não é tão alto. Nada mais perto de casa. E ela não se sente em casa, tanta viagem. E eu não consigo ter calma, nem com a paisagem. Vou acelerar, não vejo a quilometragem. Você enrolado em mim, é uma massagem. Tô aproveitando bem, eu tô de passagem. Tá inseguro eu também, mas isso é fase. Eu não consigo olhar nos seus olhos. A culpa esmagando os meus ossos. E eu tô lidando com mais do que eu posso. Sinto aí.
Fire. It's very interesting to me. Like we've been doing this for like 9 months, and tonight we probably only had one non-English language submission in the entire time we've been doing this until tonight. But it's fire. I mean, I was wondering, do you guys all like know each like, or do we get like fucking plugged into like an unexpected algorithmic thing? I'm just very curious why this all suddenly came down. But all this shit is fire. I love it. It's all very like sonically related too. I don't want to, but yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me not to be like, where did this all come from? But it's fucking fantastic. I think it's really good. I love the vocal texture. It's just this kind of light. I like the reverbs too. With those kind of like those. I like that high end stuff. I feel like people are afraid of that shit here sometimes. But yeah, I don't have a lot to contribute. I mean, it just sounds great. I mean, I don't really understand the words, but I think there's a couple of moments actually where I did kind of appreciate that. I almost felt like the lyrics, like I could hear. There was one where you're like, like right into one of the words, and I was just like, whatever that is, I can like. It's like I have no idea what it is, but I was like, I felt it. So this shit's great, man. That one felt really cool. It was very smooth. I mean, I think that one. I think the drums were kind of well matched to the way the vocal was falling in there, and yeah, I don't know, fantastic, I would say. Drop the @ in the chat, maybe. Yeah, I'd be back to Boston. I mean, yeah, Boston, New York probably are like the two most likely cities other than LA that I'll be in again soon. I know Detroit, someone's working on something with me to do there, possibly with the Detroit Symphony, which would be pretty fucking sick. That was actually a great show. That was the first show of tour. I mean, that was the first time I've ever played in my life to more than like 200 people. So it was fucking incredible, I would say. Um, I would love to come back. But Boston and New York, yeah, for sure. I'm from Boston, so I will definitely be back to Boston soon. And New York is just always on the way. So stay tuned. Just follow my Instagram and stuff. I'll be pretty aggressive about announcing shit when it happens. So hitting difference your favorite on the album. Thank you. I should, yeah, I actually have that like set up. Like I when I perform songs live, I have to like set up the fucking I have to write the sheet music for the musicians because I've written it in the like I wrote like scraps of ideas that became the strings in the final song, but I don't have just like sheet music for the final song that can just be pulled up and read on the spot for some of these songs. So I don't have that like for Fuck This Town, which is why we didn't do it on tour because I just like even though people started asking, I was just like, oh God, I gotta like prepare that. And then you got to prepare the Ableton live session to run the click track to the musicians so that they can stay on with the music. And it's just it's a bit of a process, but I will set it up for Focus Town. And I already have it for anything different. I mean, I really would just have to rehearse it once or twice and just make sure we're good. But yeah, I could add that. Maybe the next tour will cut a couple of the older ones. Probably cut No One Wants to Dance Anymore. I love that song, but I think that, you know, it has served its purpose as far as live goes. And then I don't know what other songs I would cut. I mean, it's not like I like all the songs. I really enjoy the show. I don't do drugs anymore, I think is a fun one, but you could maybe cut that and put in, you know, it's not that up tempo. Hitting difference more up tempo. Fuck this town. Maybe that's the move. And then I'll probably replace the Nirvana cover with something more. I like doing a cover. It's like new artists. People tend to like try to throw in a song that people know. That one's relatively obscure, but I know I can always see the couple of people that know that are. I've been playing the song "Dumb" by Nirvana on the tour, and just seeing people that fuck with that is always like just cool because I always catch the ride. It's like, oh yeah, if you know, you know. And it's not like the most famous song of theirs, but I think it's a really good song. But there's maybe a world in which the cover is like I don't know what's something that would really
Peep.
that would actually be really great. That's not a bad idea, actually. It's a fucking great idea, actually. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, and it's cool because then I do it on the piano, so it's like it's gonna be different from the original. Yeah, that could be cool. I don't know what you have any Peep songs in mind. Not to put you on the spot.
What's
I would like save that shit. I don't know if that would really work without the drums and stuff, but I'd be down to try it. Like this town hitting different. Oh, they literally said that. I was just saying this out loud, but yeah, those two get. Also, some people request like there's a couple of ones that like some of the older ones, Pretender and Smile Like an Idiot. Those they don't get a lot of requests, but there's been a couple people who've just been like very loudly demanding I play those songs. So I could throw one in at some point, and I have them both prepped, I think. Um, but yeah, fuck this town hitting different would be good. Um, I think that's kind of it from, yeah, there's not really anything else that I really feel the need to bring back. I mean, one person asked for Alone at the Theme Park, part three, but I don't know. It's like I have a lot of down tempo shit already, so I don't know. The studio recording of which one, Angie? Please pull up. Boston's amazing. Boston's not amazing, but I'm from there. Oh, 15. Oh, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it definitely misses the kind of like, the weird thing about that is I actually I do the song 15 off my first, I guess it's the second EP, but the kind of the first one that's really like of the recent group of songs. It's like 2 years old. This song 15 and the piano, I like is there's no piano in that song, but I started adding this kind of like just really loosely kind of soul piano kind of part live. which has been really fun to kind of work through. And I kind of like didn't really rehearse it. I mean, I sort of did a couple times in a sound check or rehearsal, and then just every show I just kind of clean it up a little bit and make it better. And but I have no idea what it sounds like mixed in with the record because it's not like we're carving out room in the mix from the track for a piano there. Same with Get My Shit Together. It's like there was never supposed to be a piano. I'm just like doing it on top. I don't know how they make it work, but um, yeah, maybe I should put out a version that reflects that. There's already two versions of 15 out, so maybe, maybe we did that, but I don't know. I don't like that song. That was actually an example of something like I didn't even really it kind of like it's always in the back of my mind is like that's a nice song, like maybe one day people will find that and it'll be cool. But I kind of like was mostly just done with it. And then somebody at the What Do You Want to Be When You Grow Up experience in LA where there was a 6 foot tall model of my house and I made cocktails for people on the spot and had a string quartet wearing duck hunter masks. Somebody at the party was like, "Are you playing 15 tonight?" And I was like, and he's like, "Bro, I came like 4 hours here. Like, you gonna play 15?" I was like, "All right, fine." So I just did 15 on the piano, having not thought about it in like 2 years. I was kind of like, I think I'm pretty sure I can figure this out. I like listened to it on the iPhone to remember what key it was in. And then I just played it on the piano and I was like, all right, cool, noted. And I just added it to the set list. But it's been great. It's been one of the best ones. Greasy Will, my like tour sound guy, decided at some point on tour to just start holding up a phone light and doing the waving back and forth in the middle of the song. And that has also been, and so a lot of people that end up taking video of it because they're just like, oh, this is the fucking song, which is funny because it's like, according to streaming, it's not the fucking song, but according to the show, it is. So it's cool. It's been fun. I mean, is there any songs from non-subscribers? We can listen to one or two.
Yeah, I'm checking who's in Twitch chat.
What about this Matt Traverso guy? Greedy Sterling Light. Did he send this? I'm down to Matt Traverso. If you want to like be a subscriber, it'll obviously make me happier, but I'll still do it probably.
Yeah, I've got.
Which song do you do the phone lights for on tour? Is 15. It's just called 15. I spell it out on the title by Johan Lennox. So that's the song I was just talking about. So yeah, that's the one where I added the piano and all that shit. So it's an older one of mine. There's a couple versions that I put out. I would do the World on Fire, the one that says Johan's version. If it ever suggests a Johan's version when you're searching a song of mine, that means that's the one I'm like currently happiest with. Usually there's an older version that like I decided I didn't like for whatever reason, but can't take off because major labels.
All right, I got one queued up, and I'm queuing up some others. So we'll do maybe a couple of rapid fire ones.
Let's get it on Phonem. How about Pink Tone? Wow, that was cool. Is that really how it ends, or you just cut it off right there?
I cut it off right there. I have no idea whether it continues or not.
You nailed it. The timing on that, you really you cut it off like it just ended exactly. I like that a lot. I really like the voicing on the chords. There was a lot of like sort of crunchy shit that I don't really like that word, but I don't know what to say. Just light dissonance that just going. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it sounded really good. I would just fucking listen to that. I don't know, I was asking the chat like who would you hear on this? Like, I don't, because obviously if you're trying to make beats, you're probably trying to get people to record to them. And I'm curious, like, what, yeah, like, what is, I'm trying to think, like, who's getting on shit this, actually, it'd probably be like an R&B beat. I bet, like, I bet, like, her or something would do pretty good on that. Or, like, you know what I mean? Like a real, like, scissor or some shit, maybe. Somebody like that, I feel like would really kill that shit. The chords are like they're like almost got like an R&B character to them, and yeah, there's just like just nicely voiced chords with like a lot of notes in them. Yeah, that's kind of how I think of it. Yeah, Keem would be crazy. Saint Nilo is going to record over it. Why don't you guys link up and let's get Saint Nilo on this shit? Maybe that's the fucking move. This is a big part of what I'm trying to do. Is just like it's like just get fucking whoever this person is, Saint Nilo. Just hit them up right now. Drop your ads in the chat. Link up. Make a record. We'll listen to it next week. Not SZA. Why? You're just like, no, fuck SZA. SZA's got like a bigger voice. I'm thinking something kind of like light, like sort of, yeah, like airier almost. Like, that was the melody I was hearing. I want it, but you want it, something, everything you wanted, ever done. Like something like that. That's what I was hearing on it. I don't know, like, but like a girl doing it. Like, who am I doing an impression of right now?
SZA? I don't know.
Something airy. Neo. No, I'm trying to do like a girl. I feel like I'm hearing like her or some shit, but I feel like there's maybe somebody, Summer Walker, maybe.
Next submission, Saint Nilo. Nilo? This is their track, Blame You. They've been in chat all night. We're going to reward them.
You said you wanted love, but you don't seem to know what it means. I think I'm giving up, 'cause I can see you laying here next to me. And I don't blame you, as long as the intentions were good. No, I don't blame you, no, even though I should. Told you I wanted you, committed to the things that you need. Maybe it was not enough, but I didn't think you'd wanna watch me bleed. 'Cause you lied about forever, and I tried to do whatever I could, but baby, now I'm good. And I don't blame you, as long as the intentions were good. No, I don't blame you, no, even though I should. Yeah, 'cause you lied about forever, and I tried to.
This is the person who was saying they should get on that last beat. That actually, now I was saying it already, but really y'all should get together and make a song, because I think that would actually be fucking perfect. So can you please, are they both in the chat? Can we like set this up somehow? What has to happen for this to happen?
Drop
Please.
your ats in the chat, connect in the Discord.
And that was great. I love it. Man, your voice sounds great. It was beautiful, great melodies and shit. I mean, you're literally like exactly the thing I was doing. I don't know. I was hearing a girl on it, but it would be really cool to. I mean, you should fucking get together. Like my overall thing with this shit is just like why I started the Discord was just kind of like, it's better to meet somebody and make a record with anyone than to not. Having a bunch of beats on your computer is useless. You know, like there's no point in saving it for Travis Scott. Like if Travis comes calling, like you can make it and be like, yo, Travis needs this. Can I please just give me it this one time and I'll make you something else. Like it's okay. It's okay to do that to an extent. But like waiting around for a superstar to take your beat instead of making shit now with people that are great, because you're great, saying Nilo or whatever, and that dude was great. It's like that's great. Make a great record. Maybe it'll fucking go great, and then learn how to promote your shit, and like maybe that'll be the thing that one of you gets signed, and then the producer's making money, and you're all doing shit, and fly to LA and link up with like I don't know Jeremiah or some shit. Live the dream. You know what I mean? So I hope you get together and make a record. That's all I got. What's next?
Pastor Rex.
Here.
Doing good, I'm alright. What's with you? How's your night? Doing good, I'm alright. It ain't time to go. Got a J, smoke it up while we talk some more. This party's getting hectic, way more than I expected. I wanna go refreshments, next thing I know you're getting naked. Talk to me, oh talk to me. Conversations between us come so easily. Talk to me, won't you talk to me? Doing good, I'm alright. What's with you? How's your night? Doing good, I'm alright.
Yeah, I mean, another good. I mean, it's just so funny. We got like three Latin tracks, and then we got three like R&B American tracks. It's like I don't understand why they're stacking like this, but uh you need to work with those last two motherfuckers. Like you guys should like please link up. Like all this shit is really solid. I really would like to hear you guys just start collabing and like make some shit because this is yeah, you're all really strong and that felt really great to me. I thought the vocals were cool. I love the way the music kind of kept coming in and out and just it was very like unpredictable and shit. It was like but it was still you could still vibe to it. It was fire. Drop your everybody's all three of you, everyone tonight, really. Just drop your shit in the chat and uh I hope you guys can get connected or find each other on the Discord. Maybe in the general, just be like, yo, this is that song I played tonight. I've been meaning to reply to some shit in there too. I'll come back soon. So all right.
Couple more. Rapid fire. Two more. All right. Sterling Ave from Matt, our new friend in the chat.
Time, do it for a while. Started to see that no more lies was really in disguise. Now I can live with ease.
You might have Flap and the rich lady under your spell, but it's gonna take more than that to impress me.
It's gonna take more than you giving to me, but I can't let go. I should have been warned that my swim out to sea keeps getting more cold. No more lies, please cut ties. I can bear to believe that one time in your eyes there was a future to see. Tell me, baby, what do you see? Is it really time to conquer me? Yeah. I've been trying to
I mean, it's very well put together. I liked when that kind of the beat hit at the end and it all the shit kind of filled out. I felt like that was made it kind of there was something more modern to me about how that sounded maybe mix wise. I feel like Look, I mean, overall, like I'm not someone who's drawn to kind of like classic styles of shit. I know that sounds ironic as someone who like makes classical music, but I try to. What I mean by that is like I try to push it forward in the future, and I'm just interested in how are you pushing this into the future? And I think you had a little bit of that, but overall, you'll definitely find a big audience for this stuff. Like there's no question about it. But I just don't personally gravitate to stuff that's like the bluesiness of it. I don't know. It feels a bit kind of like retro in a way that I don't particularly am not moved by. I like stuff that's just futuristic. But I think you did it really well, and I think you should keep going. And I really have no complaints with how you did it. I think you could probably find a massive fucking audience doing music like that. Huge sync potential, and just people love music like that. I mean, it's really the familiarity is like an upside for a lot of people, and that there's really nothing wrong with that. I don't have that much to say about it, but I think you did a great job. So I hope and you got great vocals too. I'd be down to hear your vocals over some production that's a little more unexpected or something maybe or weird. So maybe there's a potential to collab with some people there. I think some people who played shit tonight could use your vocals on some shit. That could be really cool. Um, but yeah, or your production with like a Tizo touchdown on the. I don't know. I keep talking about Tizo, but I just fucking love this guy so much. But like, if you just sent him that instrumental and had him do vocals over it, you would end up with a final product that is just so deranged and completely unique to anything anyone's ever heard that would also, so it's like I just think it's for me personally watching people take the classic elements and then mix it up with something that's extremely unexpected is sort of the sweet spot oftentimes. And if that's of interest, I think that might be a direction to check out. But if not, I think what you're doing will definitely do well, and you should absolutely pursue it if this is what you love. I think there's nothing. I have no complaints. Any final? Should we fucking? I don't know. Yeah.
It's up to you. You want to do one more? You want to do two more? You want to call it here? You want to plug some stuff? Plug the merch?
I mean, if you have two more, are there people in the chat right now that are like waiting, sort of eagerly for?
Yeah, you've
Thank
always
you,
got
say no.
fans.
Yeah, play two. Let's play two more real quick. Let's do like 40 seconds of each. I'll give a quick thought on each one. Drop your at in the chat as the music plays, and we'll hopefully go more in depth with your music if you guys keep tuning in. But may as well listen. So let's go.
All right, you heard the man. Hold on.
On phone him.
My man D Lightning has been an OG. He's been in the chat sending more messages than anybody else. This is Music Lookout. So we're going to give him the last minute submission.
Her words are wise, her soul is like a wave. There's an ocean in her eyes, it's something you can't deny. There's nothing better or fine than traveling a million miles. Money cannot compare to the adventure of a lifetime. Take off with that sign. Life can change at a drop of a dime. Living more than a semi-charmed life. Hit it like a hook from Sublime. Gotta do it one more time. Her words are wise.
I don't know which part was you or all of it. I mean, I thought the production was incredible. Start there. So I love that fucking weird squealing guitar and the drums. Just very weird combination of sounds. Really attention getting. Still had a groove. Fucking amazing. Easily, you could get that anybody huge could get on that beat. That's a great ass beat. If you did it, congrats. If you picked it, good ear. Vocally, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. The flow wasn't like maybe the most captivating, but I do think there was something kind of cool about how sort of like raw it sounded. Did it actually? I think it like for the most part did kind of work for me. I think maybe a little bit better mix on the vocal would probably help. Just a little different EQ setting maybe and shit with that, and the track would help make it cut a little more. But I did like how, yeah, it was weirdly kind of laid back. Uh, I don't know if it's a smash, but I think there's something cool there between the combination elements there that I would keep fucking with it. I'm excited to hear more. Put your ad in the chat, please. Let's do one more now.
At in the chat. All right, to take us home is hold on. Love James. They showed up. Shout out to Love James.
I love a good James.
I know she ready, bounce it. Them girls say, "Hey, bounce it." I know she ready, bounce it. I know she ready, bounce it. I know she ready, bounce it. Them girls say, "Hey."
It's your ringtone, get the best song, get the best songs, but the unknown at the moment we control it. Like composing, bitches posing all on my phone. Looking for some likes, now she looking for a bone. Bring her on home, gotta get the ice, cause that pussy gon' numb. Messy bitches, make her moan. Damn, you sexy, bitch, I know.
Girls come and they dance. Boys pay for the night. Girls go up your man. I know she's ready, bounce it. I know she ready, bounce it. Bounce it. I know she ready, bounce it. I know she ready, bounce it. I know she ready, bounce it. Them girls say, "Hey, bounce it."
That was nuts. It was like, am I wrong that was just like the entire thing was like it felt like I was in 2006? Am I wrong?
Yeah, it felt like a precursor to like LMFAO or like Black Eyed Peas or something.
Yeah, or like the beat reminded me like 50 Cent or some shit. I don't know. I mean, there's something about I don't fucking know. I have no fucking clue what to say about that. I mean, I think it was really well done. I mean, yeah, like maybe there's some world in which that sound is just kind of like coming back, or like maybe there's just a weird, just like fuck you, this is what I'm doing, retro kind of quality to it. I mean, people like music like that. That maybe there's a path for you to just fucking run it with that shit. It's hard to know what that path looks like. Probably like a viral video, I think, would be a big part of it. And someone very current rapping over it, maybe in addition to you, to just kind of like anchor it in the moment. But yeah, Timbaland, yeah, all that shit. Kind of got that like right, kind of like Bay Area, like
Yeah,
that shit's
definitely hear
sick.
that kind of Timbaland, like when he was producing a lot for Justin Timberlake on that solo album.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I don't know, you do it well, and it is like a little different. So I think yeah, your best bet is that it's contextualized on an album that's mostly not that shit, or you just fully lean into that sound and just kind of somehow do it, maybe pair it with videos that are extremely modern looking, with dudes with like face tats and shit, to just kind of like just make it really, really clear that you're not just like 45 or something. But it's cool. This is sick. I don't know who was that.
That was Love James.
Different.
They said heavily inspired by that era. Britney Spears, Black Eyed Peas. Thank you.
Yeah,
They're linking in the chat. Love James is linking with
yeah.
D
I just
Lightning.
want you to like have. I'm just trying to. I want you to have a path toward your dreams, and you're definitely, in some ways, maybe setting up a challenge for yourself, but in other ways, potentially, there's a huge window of opportunity doing something like this when no one else is even attempting to do shit like this, and therefore, you know, power to you. Anyway, this has been fun as hell. I'll be back. I'm this Wednesday. I'm at the El Rey, and Tuesday and Thursday and Friday, opening for 070 Shake. And then next week I'll be back probably to normal. I usually do Mondays and Wednesdays, slightly different vibe. Wednesdays usually more music listening. Mondays sometimes I've been kind of opening up sessions from old songs and stuff to try to show people how I produced various things or just working on new shit. So I'll be back to normal hopefully next week. And oh, there's next Wednesday we have this thing with SoundCloud. I don't know if that's been announced yet, but at some point we're doing something like this, but as a partner with the SoundCloud Discord, I guess, or something. I don't know.
That's the 15th, so it is what is that? 9 days away.
Yeah, next Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah, next one.
Week from Wednesday.
I'll announce it later this week.
It'll be great. So stay tuned.
Join the
Thanks for
Discord, exclamation point Discord and chat to get a link to it. Go buy merch. I'm gonna put the link in. The fucking t-shirts are fire. The blanks that Johan printed on are wicked expensive. They're nice
They're
quality.
nice. They're nice. Nice shit. Yeah, we don't make crap at Johan Industries.
Johan LLC. Here's a link to the merch. Follow Johan on everything. I suppose you already are. Can you do a fuck this town session? Yes, I told him to do that like 7 weeks ago before he was on tour.
Yeah, well now we're in like this weird situation where I thought we fucking did one, didn't we? I like opened it up. Did one. We literally did one.
Maybe.
I'll do another one for you. Right now I'm in this weird situation where all of my shit is on hard drives that I can't unlock or open, and it's like extremely disconcerting and nerve-wracking. But I'm trying to get them repaired or some shit, but if not, just start fresh and I'll reproduce the song for you.
All right, that's it. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.